Hello guys and welcome back. Today we are doing the rear drawers for the Patrol. Finally got around to doing it. Made a pretty good start this morning and we have the basic frame fitted out. We continue to plod along, stay tuned, grab something cold and enjoy the ride. Alright, so this is what we've done so far. The frame all done up and yeah, I'm actually really stoked with how this has turned out. So obviously going to have to figure out a way of attaching it to the false floor, or perhaps I'll just leave it how it is and the weight of it will keep it in, because I don't really foresee it going anywhere, although I should probably bolt it in. I might just be able to get a bolt down each of the corners and just bolt. This is a really cheap way of doing rear drawers. This aluminium is quite cheap and very lightweight, very easy to work with, so it's perfect for doing this sort of thing. A lot of manufacturers use this sort of RHS style aluminium to build their drawers as well, because it's cheap, rigid, strong enough, and also the weight factor. Like, this is very light. It's maybe, I don't know, a couple kilos at max, so really good for doing this sort of thing. This is what I've got, 25.4 by 25.4 by 1.2 by 1800. That is what I'm using, which is perfect for doing this. And then you just, measure and cut the bits up that you need. Now the beauty of doing it yourself is, well, you get to make it yourself. Make it to suit you and however you want to have your drawers set up. Got a bigger side on this side for all my bigger things. And then a smaller side over here for smaller things. In here will be like all my major stuff, and sort of depends on how I'm going to set my actual drawer up that slides. Will depend sort of how my room sort of goes, whether it's partitioned or whatever. But yeah, this is turning out quite nicely. So you'll also need to grab yourself some of these, which are obviously the corner joins. Them ones there. So now basically need to figure out the height that I want. I obviously don't want it too high, because it sort of impedes on things. But I'd think probably up to about this high is probably, fairly good for drawers. Sort of keep it, probably about there, which is not too bad. Keep it sort of low into the floor of the car. You don't want to go too high, because then you start to, if you load things up on top, you struggle to see out the back, and also your center of gravity can be affected. You want to go too high and start putting too much weight in it, but this isn't going along too badly at all. So I think we'll figure out our height, and then yeah, then it's basically just a repeat of what we've done, except we need to put a bit of height on it, and then it's practically done after that. A little bit of a change. I've decided to chuck in a support for the middle, just because I wanted to distribute that weight on the top of it a little bit better, so that'll help just to add a bit more bracing in. We've also done the supports for the sides now, and that's going to be perfectly in line with where I wanted it. I wanted to still have access to sort of this panel here, this area, so that'll work really nicely. So that's perfect height. That's 28 centimeters there, and these bits being an inch, so that'll work perfectly for that. Alright, so we're starting to get the uprights done. Almost got them all finished. We've got another 3 more to do, and then we'll be sorted for the uprights. I had to take a little bit of a break from doing the uprights, as I had to lop 3 inches out of the overall length of it, because we were fouling on the door. It wouldn't close. Whilst it was fine with just like the base done, when I had the uprights for the corners and stuff, then I was starting to run into issues with the door. So I've had to take 3 inches out of the overall length of it, and now this sits perfectly. It closes like spot on. It couldn't have been much more perfect than that. So because these little blocks are about an inch, we really only took about 2 inches out of it, and yeah, it was perfect to sit flush enough so that the door doesn't actually hit it when it's closed. Alrighty guys, another day, another dollar. We finally have the basic premise of our drawers done. Another 2 inches actually out of the overall length of it, because when I started to do these upright bits and put the long supports in, the boot obviously wouldn't close because now it was rigid and there was no actual give, which has shortened the length a little bit, but still they fit fairly well and maximise as much space that I do have in there, which is good. It was really easy, cheap, not hard to do this. So yeah, really happy with that. So now we're just going to get some sheet metal and infill all the sides of it, and then I can actually do the inner drawers. Yeah, just marine carpet it and it'll be done. So rather cheap and inexpensive, and quite easy to do as well, because all you're doing is cutting and hammering some bits of aluminium together and a little bit of measuring too. So, you know, any monkey can do it. If I can, so can you. The added benefit is the weight too. I'm just picking that up with one hand, and that's fairly easy. We all know that weight's a massive thing in these cars, so being able to have it sort of lightweight is a bonus too, obviously. All right, so that's legitimately like a seat belt's width on each side of the car. If the seatbelt gets a bit bunched up when I'm trying to put them in, it just doesn't go in. So that's literally that fine of a tolerance on the sides. So yeah, we're definitely maximising our width, and our length isn't too bad. We've got a few inches here that's not going to be utilised, and obviously we're not impeding with the actual door now, so this shuts properly. Perfect height here. I can still get into that 12-volt socket if I need to, and you know, I'll still be able to put an air compressor in there if I want. Obviously I'll have to take the drawers out to get to that. I can still have a fitting sitting here, and it's not going to interfere with anything, which is good. I mean, you can sort of picture it, you know. It's sort of good that I have this distance here too, because that means my actual drawers have some room here for the handles to come out, so that's not such a bad thing either. But you can picture it, you know, drawer here, bit of a partition, and then we've got this side here. We can open that up, get inside here. Maybe 12-volt might sit in here with our battery. Our battery might sit in here, having 12-volt on this side, being able to access that and some other little bits and pieces just, you know, quickly. And then on here, I'm thinking we'll probably have a panel with our 12-volt stuff, switches and stuff for lights, a battery monitor. I've ordered some Victron gear, so that'll be rocking up soon. And then on this side, just random gear, bits and pieces. I'll chuck some camp chairs and stuff in there, so you sort of get the picture of how much room it's going to be able to hold, which I think is also pretty important to sort of envision what you'll be able to store in there. Alright, so on this side, we've got a camp table. As you can see, like, pretty well fits perfectly in there. That's pretty flush on that side. That side we've got a bit of room. Got a box here just full of all my crap. And then on this side, a couple of camp chairs, air compressor. We've still got a bit of room up the back there. We obviously have all that height as well, so that's rather good. Actually pretty good, like the camp table and then a box on top. And it's only just clearing the top of it. That's quite a good amount of room, I think, you know, especially when you add different little partitions into your drawers and organise it really well. I think that's still quite a lot of room. Obviously I would have liked to have maximised the actual length of it here, but obviously yeah, with that rear part of the boot, this plastic stuff, like you can see where I was failing on here, which was quite annoying. I did consider maybe I could modify this plastic part to not stick out so far and protrude, you know, modify it a little bit, but I sort of just figured that this is definitely the easiest way to do. Just chop off a couple of inches of it and it'll just work perfectly, and that's pretty well spot on right there, so I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest. It's not too bad. It'll sit in there nicely, and again, it gives me a bit of room for the handles and stuff to know that the actual boot will still close, which is good. So yeah, that's worked out pretty well. So that'll probably do it for part one. In part two, we'll construct our actual drawers, infill these parts with a bit of sheet metal, and then yeah, perhaps even get some of the marine carpet and wrap the actual thing, and then yeah, it's pretty well done. So yeah, that'll be really good. So thanks for watching, guys. If you've got any comments, questions, or anything that you would like to know about this process and how to do it, or any more in further detail questions you may have, please do let me know down below in the comments, and I'll answer them for you. If you have liked today's video, guys, there's a button for that. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. as you don't want to miss any more of my content that's coming up, and I do appreciate it greatly. Until next time guys, take it easy, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.